This holiday weekend after 3 sightings, all way too close for comfort.
Pseudoceratops.
Illumination.
So today we're travelling from London Heathrow Airport to LAX. It's about 11.5 hours flight time, fly over the Atlantic and then come down over Canada towards LA. Then once in LA, we're going to land at LAX Los Angeles International Airport, which is circled there. We're going to then make our way up north via car towards Beverly Hills, and that's the Hollywood Hills and that whole area where a lot of famous people live. Then once we've walked around and explored that, we're going to make our way to the coast, to Santa Monica, have a look at the beach, and then come around the beach towards Malibu and look at all the houses that are right on the coastline. Once we've done that, we're going to make our way across over the Hollywood Hills towards Studio City and Universal Studios. Okay, so we're in Heathrow Airport. We're going to check in at first class lounge. So first of all, we come through to this dedicated area. Notice there's no queues, it's much easier to check in. When we're checking in, always a good idea to check in with light luggage. Hand carry is better than check-in actually. So ideally, if you can, you want to just go with hand carry. Now, this is our private tunnel through towards the business lounge. So we'll go through security, through our own tunnel. This is the business class lounge. Actually, we make our way across the concourse towards the Concorde room, which in fact is the first class lounge of British Airways in Terminal 5. So in here, there's lots of seats and bar area for different types of drinks. There's a whole restaurant area. All this is free, and you can order from the menu. There's also a fantastic terrace which looks out on the airport, so you see everything landing and taking off. This is the nose cone of Concorde, the supersonic jet that used to get to Heathrow, from Heathrow to New York in 2 hours. These are the sleep pods where you can spend a few hours just resting. But now, from the first class wing, we have to make our way down into the plane. So let's take off and go to Los Angeles. So we're taxiing out on the runway, and we're making our way out, and we're going to have an easterly departure. So that means that we're flying from Heathrow towards London, but actually before we get to London, we're going to take a left turn and fly out over the Atlantic via Ireland. So we go over Ireland, over the Atlantic, we arc quite north, all the way down, we come down over Canada, over California, and then we start to arrive into LAX. Notice the ground is very, very flat. LA is a very big area. So we've landed now at LAX. What we're going to do is we're going to taxi in to our gate, which takes a few minutes. Once we get to the gate, we're going to have to, as they say in America, deplane. We have to get off the plane, get onto the jetway, and then make our way through security. Immigration can take quite a long time in America. You have to go through various queues. But then, once we've done that, we collect our bags, we go down the steps, we're in LA, we make our way down through here, and then out through the main doors towards the actual ring road. The ring road itself actually goes around to all the terminals of LA. So here we are in a car, driving now from LAX north towards Hollywood. Hollywood is in North LA, Hollywood Hills and the Studio and Beverly Hills and Bel Air and all of those lovely places with all kinds of lovely houses and shops and clothes and so on and so forth. So as we make our way out notice there's lots of these coloured columns as you come out. Quite famous, quite iconic for LAX. We come out, and then we make our way into our hotel, which is the Beverly Hills Hotel. The Beverly Hills Hotel is very, very famous, probably the most famous hotel in Beverly Hills. Lots of movie stars, directors come here, stay here, eat here. Lots of deals are made here. In a minute we're going to see one of the lounges where a lot of film stars meet to agree new film roles. So first of all we pull in, and we've got to get our bags, and we come in to the hotel down this very famous lobby entrance. It's got its own plaque because it's a historic monument landmark in Hollywood. This is the main lobby, and then we go towards check-in. We check in and we get our key, and then we walk down these corridors. Notice all of these banana plants and all these very green plants on the walls of the hotel and on the key. This is going to become apparent in a minute, because as we go outside into the garden you will see what it's like. It's very lush, very green, very nice. So we go into the lift and wait for the lift to arrive. We go in, then we have to select where we want to go, and then we wait, doors shut, and then we have to leave, and we get out and we walk down the corridors. Notice the corridors still have this decor, this greenery. So we come out of the hotel into the main garden area, which is very, very green, as you can see. And now you can understand why in those corridors you've got all those plants, those pictures, those paintings of those plants. There's a really lovely banana plants and really tall famous palm trees here, all the famous kind of plants that you would associate with LA and with Hollywood. So we walk down here towards the outside terrace. This is where a lot of people eat breakfast in the morning. So it's a really nice place to have breakfast in the morning in LA. So it's just outside, and as we make our way, and this is the Polo Lounge, the famous lounge where a lot of movies get agreed. So finally, we've got the swimming pool. The swimming pool has been the site for many, many years of many different Hollywood film stars. Now we're on Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood Boulevard, you can see from looking at the pavement on the floor, is the famous Walk of Fame, where different stars have their names and their star put into the pavement itself. But we're turning left here and we're looking up, and this is called the Chinese Theatre. The Chinese Theatre was built by a man called Sid. He actually built the Chinese Theatre and the Egyptian Theatre, which are two of the original theatres that were on Hollywood Boulevard, and that helped bring the Oscars and the celebration of film to Hollywood Boulevard, and really was the start of all of those kind of things. So you'll notice famous faces and dates saying to Sid, all these kind of things down here. You'll notice some of the dates are quite old, 1960s, 50s, 40s, 30s, very, very, very old. Some of the very, very famous actors and actresses and directors who have put their hands into the actual floor here, where you can see them pushing their prints in. Okay, so lots and lots and lots of famous faces and people have put their footprints and their handprints here. So as we make our way back onto the Walk of Fame, Hollywood Boulevard, we walk down the street. There's lots of people selling things, as you can imagine, lots of shops, lots of different types of souvenir shops and people selling things on the street. Sometimes you get people dressed up as Spider-Man and various different famous film characters, and what they do is they pose with you, and you can take a photograph outside one of these iconic cinemas, and then they charge a bit of money. Here's the Dolby Theatre. This is where the Oscars are held every year. You'll notice that this is the main entrance into the Dolby Theatre. This is where a lot of the film stars pull up on Hollywood Boulevard, and then they get out. They walk down the what are called the bleachers, which are basically lots of seats, sort of banked seats where people can see them go past and take photographs. They walk up here, up these red stairs you can see. So you go up here. All right, this is the entrance into the Dolby Theatre itself. Walk round here and in. Now, what we're going to do now is actually go into the Dolby Theatre. We're going to look at some actual footage from the Oscars, and then note where Ellen is standing right in the middle there of the stage. In a minute, you're going to see where I'm filming from exactly where she's standing. Notice all the different decorations and colours of the different areas there, alright? So you can see now I'm standing where she was standing and filming an evening with Dolby, which Dolby every year used to have a sales conference where everyone would come from around the world, and we would hold this conference at different locations. In this case, we're actually on the stage of the Hollywood Theatre, as you can see. We actually had dinner on the stage itself, exactly where Ellen was standing in that Oscars ceremony. There's lots and lots of people here, probably about 1,000 people coming. It was very good fun. Now we're back outside in Hollywood and we're going down Rodeo Drive. In fact, this is via Rodeo, so this is an extra bit that's been built on just to the side of Rodeo Drive with lots of shopping and outside eating, quite expensive. This place here is the fountain where a lot of people take photographs of themselves and others and selfies and so on. It's quite famous, especially at night when it's well lit up. It looks really nice at night. But we're going to make our way down Rodeo Drive. Rodeo Drive has lots of famous, very expensive shops. So we're going to walk down Rodeo Drive. There we go, there's Burberry. As we walk past Burberry and we go down Rodeo Drive now. Many of these shops you can't actually walk in off the street. You actually have to phone up and make a reservation. You notice that man there was on the door stopping people from coming in. So they will ask you if you have a reservation, and if you do, you can come in and you can go and shop. But it's very important that you do that in some of these shops, because the security is tight, because some of the people shopping in there have their own security. They could be famous, they could be film stars, politicians, etc. So there's a lot of security conscious people around all the time. Notice it's very nice. You've got the palm trees in the middle of the road. It's actually quite narrow. Rodeo Drive is not actually very big. That's Gucci. Notice it's built so you can't really see in the shop, again, to guard people's privacy when they're shopping, especially if they're famous or they have security. Okay? Now, as you go down this road to the other end of this road, this is where all of the film stars live. That's actually Beverly Hills residential area. So the next place we're going to go is actually more towards there, more towards the hills, and you'll see the car going round, and then you've got the famous Hollywood sign there. As we start to make our way into those Hollywood hills, we're going to start to go into Beverly Hills, and we're going to have a very quick tour of some of the film stars' homes. You'll notice that they're actually homes that are just on the road, but they do actually have security, and the Beverly Hills Police Department is extremely strict in terms of who can drive around and stop and film different locations, so they're extremely strict about that. Notice the big gates, big houses, maximum privacy for all these different people. Of course, they don't spend their whole lives in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is directly located near the Hollywood studios, so it's a very convenient place for film stars and directors, etc. to live, because then they can easily get access to the studios where they're working, or if they're meeting people, etc. So there's a lot of very famous people, and not just film stars, but also, of course, music people, television personalities. All those different types of people live in this location. And of course, having all these people in a single location means that it's a bit easier in terms of the security and how to manage the security, etc. Okay, so we've got different houses, different places, different film stars. Now we're in Santa Monica, so we've made our way from Hollywood down towards the coast, and right on the coast now, famous Santa Monica Beach. So this is the famous Santa Monica Beach and pier. You can see the pier in the background there. Now the beach itself actually goes around the distance there towards Malibu and around, and then all the way back down towards Venice Beach, and all of the very famous boulevard that you can walk down the beach for miles. It's very beautiful, massive beach. This is where places like things like Baywatch are filmed, all those kind of famous programs. So Santa Monica is a much younger vibe, much younger people there. It's not as expensive as Hollywood. It does have its fair share of expensive shops, but actually it's much more hipster, younger, more modern types of clothing and brands that you would expect. Lots of different shops and shopping malls, lots of different artists and art, all kinds of stuff going on all the time, and there's the fairground actually on the pier itself. So very famous place, great place to go on the weekend to enjoy the weather and the beach. It's always sunshine in Santa Monica and in the LA area. In fact, if it rains, it makes the news, believe it or not. And actually on the news itself, sometimes if rain is coming, they'll actually say as an alert to warn people, because people are just not used to rain in LA because it's always blue sky, it's always hot. So here we are on the beach of Santa Monica, lovely place to be, lovely in daytime. It's also really nice in the evening. So as the sun goes down at the beach, it's absolutely fantastic. You can walk around, lots of different types of things, lots of lights and action going on, different types of places you can go and eat. You can go and walk around. It's really a fantastic atmosphere. Very safe, very sociable. Lots of people meet their friends down here to just walk along the beach in the evening. It's really a fantastic place to be. Really nice. So now we've finished with Santa Monica, what we're going to do on that beach is we're going to go around the beach, and we're going to make our way past Muscle Beach, is where all the people work out, onto the Malibu Peninsula, so around the actual main area. So we're going to fly over Malibu, and here we are. We're down the coast just a little bit. That road, that motorway is called the PCH, the Pacific Coast Highway, or Highway 1. That is a fantastic drive. So it goes all the way up the coast of California, all the way up to through all those different states, all the way up north. So it's really a fantastic place to go and drive. It's many miles. Now a lot of these houses are very expensive, but very sadly over the last 2 weeks or so we've had terrible fires in California. So actually what's happened is a lot of these houses that you can see have been destroyed, don't actually exist anymore. They were burnt to the ground. Very sad. So lots of different Hollywood hills. As the hills roll down towards the beach, you can see all these different roads that go in and out of the hills. So you've got a mixture of coast and mountains, and these mountains stretch back from the coast inland, and actually they form the Hollywood Hills. So actually the Hollywood sign is on these hills if you go back inland. So you can see the beach. Fantastic. Lots of different people, lots of different houses on the beach, built on stilts. A lot of these. You can see the stairs going down onto the beach from the actual houses themselves. Very expensive. 50, 60, 70, 80 million dollars for each of these houses. Very difficult to buy because there's a lot of demand for them. But as you can imagine, they are right on the beach, so it's a lovely place to live. So all kinds of different things you can do here: surfing, windsurfing, fishing, all those kind of things. All kinds of interesting animals live in that sea, including great white sharks and whales and so on and so forth. So a wonderful place to live. Hopefully they're going to rebuild and bring it back to its former glory. So now we've made our way inland again into Studio City, which is the other side of Hollywood Hills, and into Universal Studios. This is Universal Studios' ride, where you get on a trolley, as they say in America, like a sort of a tram. It's like a trailer with seats on it, and it drives around these studio sets. Now here, of course, we've got Jurassic Park as a ride. Now, Universal Studios does give a ride. This is a sort of a fairground ride that you go around like a tour, but actually, originally, a lot of these sets were the original sets that were used for the film. Of course, this is different. This one here, Jurassic Park, is a film, and it shows it's more like a theme park ride. But actually, some of these studio events, like this one here, you'll notice in a minute there's an effect that comes towards us quite quickly. All these are actually reused in films over the years, since probably the 50s and the 60s. Some of these would have been actually used for real film sets, really, and what they did was they converted those real film sets into a tour so people could come in and actually go and see the real thing, even though it's a film set, but they could see very famous films and where they were filmed and so on. So here you can see the flood effect that they created. Now what we're doing is we're going inside again in here. We're going to make our way out, and you will notice in a minute a very famous ride. Now this next ride is very famous. It's not actually the set of the film, because this specific film, which is of course Jaws, was actually filmed in the Atlantic Ocean itself. It was the first film ever to be filmed in the Atlantic Ocean, which presented the filmmakers with a massive challenge because of the weather conditions. And so one of the most famous things about Jaws, the film about the killer shark, is the fact that the shark itself was of course a fake shark, but it never worked. It always broke down. And actually the film was so successful, it was the first ever blockbuster film. One of the reasons why was because you didn't actually see the shark until later on in the film. And actually, that was not deliberate. That was due to the fact that they couldn't film the shark because it just simply didn't work. So as we go down here, you can see the different types of effects. So typically the trolley will stop, and then things move, and the person doing the guided tour just gives you a sort of a narrative in terms of what's happening. So that's great. Now if you look down there to the left, you will notice something coming towards us in a minute from the sea. Can you see him? There we go. So there he is. So there's Jaws himself going past, saying hello. There he goes. And you can get quite wet with this, but it's a good fun. So then we come round, and then that tour actually lasts quite a while. It's quite a long time to do that tour, so you've got to give yourself a day. But that's LA, Santa Monica, Hollywood. Hope you enjoyed it.